Hey everyone, Jeremy Kwan here at the LA Art Show. We're here with Nicholas Goodich. I was absolutely blown away.
Well, thank you.
When I walked to your piece.
Okay.
You've got a couple pieces around here.
Big ones.
Big ones.
Yeah.
And they strike you.
Well, these are part of a series called Double Inverted Portraits. And I'm using this symbol, this face, the symbol of the profile of the face, right? As you can see in the piece right behind you, you can see these faces, right? And they're inverted. We all obviously have a face. It's the center of us, right?
Yeah.
That's the center of our being, really. Like, yeah, we have a body. Yeah, we work out or we change it or whatever, but
Yeah.
it's our face.
Right.
That's how we all look at each other. It's our eyes, right? So like in this piece, you have the eye, and then you have the energy that's flowing out of the eye, or is it flowing into the eye? Right? So light in physics, right? There's this amazing thing called the light tunnel. And that's the fact. This is a fact. Photons come out of the world, right? Out of the sun, and they bounce off and around, or they come out of light bulbs, they bounce off of surfaces, and then the photons go into your eyeball. No person shares photons with anyone else. So the photons that I'm seeing are mine. The art has this recursive content. So there's the face, there's my face. There's the eyes carrying the light and looking at the light, and then there's the eyes looking at the light. Then you have this patterning of so there's this thing in physics called the Planck length. The Planck length is the smallest distance that we can measure. We cannot measure below the Planck length. In quantum physics, there's the Planck length, and the Planck length, below the Planck length is something called cosmic foam, quantum foam. This is like quantum foam. These patterns and these textures, the abstracts, they're like quantum foam. And so the frequencies that you see being represented in this pattern are like the quantum foam having a structure. That's part of one of the things about what physics is. Symmetry in physics, just like symmetry in the art, is about looking at how molecules imitate one another and echo one another. You know, you've got protons, you've got antiprotons, just like you've got me and you. We've got this paradox between objects, right? And I'm trying to reflect that in my work, all those different levels of meaning and all those different levels of content in the work.
I feel it in such a visceral way.
Awesome.
And again, it's sort of acknowledging this way in which we're seeing things and perceiving things. There's a lot of this subjectivity.
Yes, and the objective fact of the subjectivity.
That is
yes.
That
the objective fact of subjectivity. So the paradox that's inherent in the objective fact of subjectivity is absolutely what my work's about. So if you see this painting here, okay, the title of the painting is Am I me? Am I you? Or are we? So you have this person here, right, looking into the painting. And then there's this second person, inverted. And there's this question. Am I looking in a mirror? Is the mirror upside down? And then there's the thing about neurology where your eye, when you look at things, everything really is upside down. So there's that, right? But then you have this, where there's two faces. Right now, Janus is the ancient god of time, of past and future, personified in this. You know, we're talking ancient Greece. This image of looking into the past and looking into the future. So in this, is it we? That's like a we. Like you have your past and your future. I have my past and my future. But right now, we're bonding and sharing and communicating.
A shared experience.
So this painting is like an essay about all the things I was talking about before, but it's also about this connection that we have and the idea, like you said, or we just coined together, the objective fact of subjectivity. And what it is the paradox.
Right.
It's a paradox. And it's not rhetorical, it's real.
So, Nicholas, we've been through a few of your pieces around.
Yeah.
Really, really interesting. These two are quite distinct with some of the other ones. A Piece Unbroken. Can you talk about these two sort of dichotomies of like these faces? What's going on here?
What I wanted to share with you is how this kind of work, what it points to and what I'm working towards making is work like this as walls in buildings. So imagine this, the size of that wall.
I can imagine that.
Okay. And a wall in your house, or a wall in a museum, or a wall in a factory. I mean, anywhere, right? A wall in an aquarium. I mean, there's a wall in a store. Art. I want art everywhere in the world. I want not just my art, but I want art everywhere in the world. And so I love the idea of how these can become walls, and these can move out into the world and become part of the environment. Beyond that, even, I want to make buildings. Mm-hmm. I want to actually make buildings out of these. So I want to build, one idea that I'm proposing, and I've started a nonprofit, is to make a nonprofit community center in South Los Angeles, an area that's just totally not funded and has history of racism and history of being treated, horribly by the powers that be in the city, to make a community center out of my art. Beautiful. Like a beacon on the hill for that community.
Awesome. Awesome.
My mom grew up in that community. I'm half black, and my mom grew up in that community. And it's a community that needs people to come in there and help create beauty.
It really looks like you have layered as a layered piece. So how are you?
Well, these are layers of plexiglass that where I pour. I don't really use brushes, but I pour the paint. I use plastic containers to pour the paint, and then I print from one side to the other. So if you come back, and you can see that one side is exactly the same, really, or nearly so, as the other.
Got it.
Now, it's a diptych. This piece is two pieces. And the color and the light reveal. There's like these teeth.
Yep.
Just like over there. So yeah, it's all about layering and printing.
So glad to have this interview.
Thank you, man. Cheers.